All right, so we're live, right? We've been live. We've been live.
That's the syncing up audio. Wait, what is that? Mazi Smith, take one.
So we've been chopping it up for a while already. I was on the drive down here with my wife. I was like, I feel like me and Mazi are best friends now. So like we've been shopping together. We've been in a helicopter together. We're doing the interview together. Like we just, we've had a few different experiences. But I mean, I'm grateful that you're here, man. I'm grateful that you're spending part of your day here. And this is going to be the last interview you do before you hop on a plane. And where are you headed to? You're out to Arizona, right? You're out to Arizona. Get ready for the NFL Combine. Just kind of walk me through that process a little bit. Obviously, your Michigan career has now come to an end, getting ready for the NFL. What's that like for Mazi Smith?
Just make sure everything in line. I talk to all my coaches first. I feel like you kind of got to do it the right way. You can't just leave, not nobody know. Like, I kind of hit every coach. You like, yo, what you think? I think about this, talk to Coach Harbaugh. And they all told me, like, I mean, they don't see why not.
Yeah.
And so, I made a decision, found an agent, and then get the ball rolling with that and start prepping.
Did that all happen pretty quickly? Like because before the cameras were rolling, we were talking about how, after that ass beating of Ohio State, you were thinking like, I might want to run this back again. I might want to do this again. So like at what point in time did you, really sit down and start to look at it, and how quickly did that decision come together? Was it something that was made over like the course of a week, or I mean, when you're an athlete in your position making that decision, how quickly do you have to make it?
Well, you try to build relationships, throughout the season. People hit you up trying to figure stuff out, tell you, trying to recruit you. That's what agents recruit you just like schools do.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Just like schools recruit you out of high school, agents recruit you out of college. And you try and build this relationship and rapport and see who's offering the best circumstances for you, who gonna take care of you the best, who actually care about you, and who just looking at you like a business investment. And then you after the season, you kind of do gotta make it quick. Like, I didn't really think about it too much during the season. I wasn't picking up too many phone calls, and if I was really trying to hang up, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think everybody handled it different though.
Yeah.
I was pretty thorough in my process.
Sure. I'm sure there was no shortage of people trying to reach out to Mazi Smith and say, hey man, we can represent you, we can get you right. Like with a guy, I mean, we're talking about some of the accolades, we were talking about that beforehand, but two-time Big Ten academic honoree, two-time All Big Ten first team, or was it first team this year, second team in 2021?
Last year I was honorable mention.
Honorable mention last year, first team this year. Right, and then you get named defensive MVP on the team. You're named team captain, which we talked about off camera, which is a really big honor at the University of Michigan. Take me through that. I mean, did you have any idea that you were going to be named team captain this year, or did it come as a complete surprise?
Man, people. Early on in the season, last season, I was just trying to play. Trying to get my feet wet, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to survive. And then coming into this season, same approach. Just trying to get better, take it day by day. And then it was like 2 weeks, Coach mentioned captains. And I was like, oh, okay. And then my teammates started telling me, oh, you definitely are going to be a captain. And I was like, because they want to be captains too. And I was like, who you think I can get it? Yeah, they like, bro, you're like DJ was telling me before the season, you're getting captain. So I didn't start knowing it until then. But then it was crazy. I never thought that I'd be a captain.
Yeah, and I mean, is that? I mean, a lot of people have said that's one of their greatest honors when they play at the University of Michigan, is being named captain. Does that resonate with you as well? Is that one of your greatest honors during your time in Michigan?
I won't know yet. I think it was a big deal for me. I think I don't know. I trying to carry myself in a way that garner respect.
Sure.
I try and do things that that, you know, I could be proud of and that other people can look to, you know, to how it's supposed to be done. And just living like that and trying to live like that, you know, it got me to that position. So it's like, shit, I wasn't really, I know people who, and Coach Harbaugh will tell you, like, people start making campaigns trying to be. You know,
Wait, hold on. You got people campaigning for captain?
Yeah, people start campaigning and, you know, doing all type of crazy shit. And it's like, it's like, bro, like you said, just you gotta be yourself, you know.
You don't seem like a guy who goes out and campaigns. You seem like you're more quiet, keep your head down, do the things you need to do, and then the results are whatever the results are going to be.
Yeah, people don't. I'll be having a lot to say, but you gotta ask me first. Like,
Sure.
I'm not just gonna come out and say it to you, or just gonna come out and try. You know, I'm not finna get in front of the group, get to yelling and shit. That ain't.
Not your style.
Nah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about football. And recently, the national championship game was on. I had asked you earlier if you would watch it. You said you didn't watch it live, but you did watch film from the national championship game. I'm curious, when you watched that, I mean, obviously Georgia dominated TCU. And, you know, we know what it was like from a fan standpoint, and I can elaborate on that a little bit. But as a player, when you see that game and you see what the end result is, what's going through your mind? Does it feel like, I mean, did you get the sense that it was a huge missed opportunity? Were you like, well, that Georgia team is just legit? I mean, what are you thinking when you watch that film?
I think a lot of people forget how hard it is to come in. Because I think we all can all agree that TCU played their best game of their season against us. You know what I'm saying? So even with the 2 picks from the quarterback, like they were who they were to a T and did a great job, you know? And with the explosive plays, and it's hard to come back and do that again against another great team. You know, those emotional wins take a lot out of you, you know?
Yeah.
Like those, depending on how you look at it, you know, they was underdog, they wasn't supposed to win that game.
Yeah.
And you kind of get imposter syndrome, like, oh, we ain't really supposed to be here, or, oh man, you know, just start being happy along for the ride. I think TCU is a great team. You know, I don't think that the score showed how good they were. I think they missed a lot of opportunities and they weren't able to play to their strengths. Just in watching the film and just knowing Georgia and watching film on them, like they a team that needs explosive plays and they use their speed. You know what I'm saying? And they went against a real fast defense with Georgia and people they had a great front. So when you're getting beat up front and the back end fast, it ain't a lot you could do.
Yeah. Well,
and then you took a look on the other side and Georgia's offense was putting up points every time you looked up. So it's like, that's discouraging.
Yeah.
That's discouraging. And then you kind of get out of character when you do that. Like, we kind of got out of character a little bit, you know, when we were in those shootouts. We hadn't been in a shootout all year.
Yeah.
The closest game we played was Illinois, and that was what, a 1-point game?
Yeah. But that was that was the one game where I didn't expect it to be close, and it turned out to be like a full 4-quarter battle. And then, yeah, you get to a game like TCU, and I wonder when you're looking at that, like, do you view that more as, like, shit, we didn't take them seriously enough, or they were stronger than we thought they were going to be, or do you attribute the result more to just self-inflicted issues, penalties, mistakes, things like that? I mean, what do you think was really the determining factor there?
I mean, I can only speak on myself for real. I don't know how everybody else was looking. I think we took them serious. I think, you know, everybody knows or should know, you know, there's only 4 teams playing right now. So, like, you don't get to this position by bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this is a good team, you know. And they had an All-American up front. So I was like, you know, I gotta handle my business. And I think we made some key mistakes, but that happens. No game goes perfect. And then I think that those boys just came to play. You know, like, they played like at their ceiling or close to it. You know what I'm saying? They played their best game. 60-yard runs, 30-yard runs, touchdown passes. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of big plays.
Quarterback running.
Yeah.
Like, everybody was doing exactly what they were supposed to be doing. And, every missed opportunity or mistake that we made, they exploited. And that's just what you do when you're trying to win the game.
Right.
They came to play.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great team. I still think we the better team, but that's why you play the game.
Yeah.
That's why you play the game, because anything can happen on any given Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, even though it ended on a painful note, for players, fans alike, like it was, I think everybody looked at that game and was like, Michigan's going to roll them. Michigan's a better team. They're more physical. They're stronger.
That's the problem. That's the problem. People who don't play football, may have played football, but like even when you play football, like you kind of, once you get out of football, I was telling somebody like last year how uncomfortable getting ready for practice is. As a D lineman or O lineman, like you got these knee braces squeezing your legs so tight, your calves getting numb. You got these. Sometimes I don't wear a shirt on under my pads, and on the inside of my pads, I got this thing that'll scratch the inside of or the top of my shoulder every time I go to strike. It's like you get used to that discomfort.
Sure.
So it's just different. That's why it's a different sport. The helmet tight, squeezing my head. I got a big ass head, so like it's like, and when you get out of it, you kind of reminisce. But you're never really in that same exact mind state.
Yeah.
And so I think people who not playing the game, speaking on the game, not saying that nobody can't talk, but it's just like they don't have a real idea of what's going on.
Sure.
Like we good because of what we do up front and how we play together, how we play complementary football, how our coaches coach. We ain't necessarily good just because, we just better than every team we play. Talent-wise, like I think we still got great talent, but we out physical. We didn't out physical everybody we played this year, just about. Except TCU.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it just sucks that. Oh, and another thing that people ain't realize, they just lost the game.
That's yeah.
Like
the conference championship.
Yeah, you look at Georgia last year when they lost the game. It's like they lost to Alabama, and they was like, "Oh no, we gotta get something." And we leave them with something.
Denzel Washington, right?
Yeah. We
I'm leaving here with something.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, like, the scariest, most dangerous team is a team that just lost.
Sure.
A good team that just lost.
I'm wondering, do you feel like you play a little bit tighter? Like, nobody wants to lose a game, right? But do you feel like, in some ways, that loss in the conference championship game, it does reinvigorate, re-energize, give you a new, sense of purpose? Do you feel like that can sometimes help teams, especially late in the year when you get another shot?
Yeah. I mean, we lost to Michigan State last year.
Yeah.
And that was a game we should have won. That we were in position to win. And it kind of put everything in perspective, kind of bring you back down to earth. Yeah. That's like when you start playing your best football. Like, you gotta can't be drinking the lemonade, whatever, the Kool-Aid, whatever people call it. Like, you can't be absorbing all that and just thinking how good you are and you having a great season.
Yeah.
Like, I played a good season all year for the most part, but I never got to the point where, I'm like that. Like, right. I don't need to do no more. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always still was trying to push for more,
Sure. So at the beginning, we talked about some of the accolades, some of the things you've accomplished at Michigan, but something a lot of people might not know about you. You are a creative writing major. Mazi Smith is a creative guy. Yeah. And he wants to play in the NFL, but you've got some things you want to do outside of the NFL. I read that, let me see here, check my notes. Screenwriter for movies, songwriter, poetry. Mm-hmm. Like, First question: do you write songs right now? Like,
Yeah.
do you actively do that? Because we had you on a podcast last year, and I asked you about like a guilty pleasure song or artist or things you listen to, and you mentioned Luke Combs.
Oh, yeah,
So I
yeah,
found
yeah.
myself I'm like, is Mazi writing country music?
For the record, I listened to Luke Combs like 5 times in my life. Okay. So after that, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, here it comes. Now, what did you end up getting?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I got
What was the order?
That's a brat.
yeah.
The brat.
Yeah.
Bratwurst
By the way,
cheesesteak.
we're here at Wolverine State Brewing Company, who's hooking us up with the food and the drinks. Very grateful for that. I, of course, got the pulled pork mac and cheese like I always do. I'm going to try not to make too much of a mess while we're doing this interview. But so it's not, the creative side. It's not just like an aspirational thing. Like you're actually doing those things in your free time. I mean, when you're not playing football, when you're not practicing, getting ready, whatever it is. I mean, are these some of the hobbies, some of the things that you're doing on the side?
Yeah. I mean, I had to find something that I liked when I was picking my major. And so I was writing anyway.
Okay.
Like I would have been writing regardless. So I just found something that I could do, that I could turn into something that I was going to be doing anyway, you know? And I think that made a difference. I think that I like Legos, so I do that.
Legos.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like a big ass kid. I'm serious. I lay on the floor for like 8 hours and get it done.
Are we talking like the giant Lego sets, like
Like
the Star
big-ass
Wars, like the
Lego
ones that
sets.
take weeks to?
No, not them. Them crazy.
Okay, so nothing.
Not
too
the
crazy.
$500. I don't
Okay.
got. Yeah, but I do. If I see something I like, I will get it though, and we'll build it for real.
So that creative side, I mean, that kind of spans across all different things, whether it's music, movies, Legos, or whatever. That's a big part of your upbringing, right? Is there any musicians, any movies that resonate with you where like you see that and you're like, yeah, that's the type of shit I want to be doing?
Favorite artist is Rallo Rodriguez.
Okay, all right.
He got great punchlines. Like, I don't got good punchlines like that. I be trying. But
Still working on it.
Yeah,
right?
still
Work in
figuring it
progress.
out.
Yeah.
But that's a guy that I look at, like, I like the way he make music. And then movies, I like, I just watched a real good movie. I didn't like the new Avatar.
Did you go see it in the theater?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, you don't like it? Long, right?
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't.
No offense to the Avatar people out there. I'm sure some people like it, but yeah, I haven't seen it. I didn't even see it when it first. Was this it's a new one or it's the old one
It's a
re-released?
new one.
The new-
The
okay.
old one was great.
Yeah.
Though I don't know what they was doing with this one though.
So all right, so we know about movies that aren't good. What is? Because I know one for me. There's certain movies. It's just like food. Like I said, when I come here to Wolverine State Brewing Company, I get the pulled pork mac. I know I like it. I eat it every single time. Is there a movie that you could watch 10, 20, 30, 40? Like, what's that one movie for you where, like, no matter how many times you see it, if it's, like, on TV or if it comes around, you're like, that's my movie, I'm watching it?
I don't really watch movies twice.
No? A single time?
Yeah, I kind of digest it at one time,
Okay.
and then like maybe I'll forget about it,
Yeah.
and then I'll watch it again. But like, I don't really do the rewatching stuff. I really like the Batman that came out. That was 3 hours.
Which one was that? Was that the recent one? Who was playing the Batman in that one? The
Some
dude
skinny
from,
dude.
like, who?
I'm serious.
It wasn't the Ben Affleck one. Who was? Does anybody know who that Batman was? No.
No.
Forget what his name is. I think he was in like.
He did a good job though.
I thought it was good, but
It
it
was real
got.
good,
There were a
though.
lot of people that didn't like it. There was a lot of
people don't
pushback
know,
on
A lot
it.
of people don't know movies and they don't know DC.
Yeah.
A lot of people want Batman because a lot of people like Marvel. Like I don't really like Marvel either.
Okay.
Like,
So
I
you
like,
follow that, so you're into that stuff a little bit. Yeah.
Like I like the last Marvel movie I really liked. I think Endgame and stuff, the Avengers stuff was really good, but their best movies was Wolverine and
Okay.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
After them movies, it was like, all right,
It's okay.
yeah, like Ant-Man, like even Black Panther, and I like Black Panther.
You weren't a fan of the Black Panther movie.
It was cool,
Yeah.
But it wasn't better than like Iron Man and stuff.
Okay.
I think their older movies was way better.
Yeah.
A little bit more grittier. I kind of like I like DC a lot.
Sure.
Like the cartoons that they be making like adult cartoons.
Yeah. You know what's funny is like I remember watching the Batman cartoons as a kid, and then as an adult I went back and rewatched some of that stuff, and I'm like, holy shit! Like there's some adult stuff in there that I didn't even realize I was watching when I was a kid.
No, they have like rated R cartoons.
Okay, so these are new cartoons,
I mean they've been out.
or it's been out for a while.
People just don't know.
Okay.
Like they're movies.
Yeah.
Like hour and a half, 2 hour movies. Like they're all on HBO Max.
Okay.
And they're crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're crazy. Like,
So you get into that? It's a big Batman fan, I'm
yeah,
guessing.
big
Yeah.
Batman. Like Teen Titans. I watched the Titans show.
Oh man,
The
Teen
live
Titans.
action one.
See, as somebody with 2 kids,
Yeah.
I know all about the Teen Titans stuff. Now I know that there's like the fully grown Teen Titans, and then there's like the smaller version Teen Titans.
Yeah. I think Teen Titans Go didn't do it for me.
That one didn't do it for you. You're like,
It
nah,
did,
not on
yeah.
that one.
But the old cartoon was good when I was a kid. And then
Yeah.
the new show that they came out with is like for adults.
Okay.
It's TV mature. It's
Yeah.
kind of got like a little horror in it.
Okay.
It's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I've noticed they do that with a lot of the movies, like even the Pixar movies or whatever. There's always a lot of adult stuff that's kind of like intertwined in there. So it makes it easier for us old folks to digest it. You're probably not at that age yet where you would consider yourself in that I guess in that age bracket. But I find it interesting because a lot of like this creative side that you have, whether it be from writing music, whatever it is, it sounds like a lot of it comes from your upbringing. And I was reading up about going all the way back to your grandparents and the impact. You grew up Grand Rapids, right? Your grandparents are from Grand Rapids. They obviously had a way bigger of an impact on that community than I ever realized, especially in the 1960s with the civil rights movement. Can you talk a little bit about what they did and what they provided for that community, and then what type of impact that had on you?
They just set an example.
Yeah.
They had a newspaper, black-owned newspaper, called The Organizer. Talked about, black issues and, kind of reported on the black community. That was really
So
good.
they went out and started their own newspaper, reported on the black community, and that was kind of where things started. And then it sort of blossomed from there, right, into some other things.
Well, like, any dude that's like 40 years old or a little older, like 40 to like 55.
Easy with the 40, because I'm
No,
touching on 40 here. We're getting there.
I'm just saying, like any young black dude in Grand Rapids that's like 40 to 55. A lot of them know my grandpa.
Okay.
I've talked to him, been around him, knew what he was like. Like he kind of was I didn't know he was that big a deal either. I mean, I thought he was a big deal. I knew he did some real good things, and I knew that my mama wasn't the way she was for no reason, but like, it kind of, I'll run into people, and they'll be like, "You Carl grandson?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, man." He's telling me all type of stories of just how, like, he helped people put things in perspective.
Yeah.
He helped educate a lot of people. He helped a lot of people see things for what it was, And he just made an impact on a lot of people around in that area. And it was interesting for me because, I just knew him as my grandpa.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
When did you find out he was this big pillar of the community? I mean, at what point in your life did you find out, like, man, he was that dude?
Well, I kind of just kept running into people, and they kept just telling me, like,
Okay.
"Oh, I knew your granddad. I knew your granddad," or, "Man, you Carl grandson, this, that, and that." They used to tell me stories. And I'm like, dang. Everybody know him, It was good, though.
And then eventually, they paint a mural of him somewhere in Grand Rapids. What's the specific location? I mean, if anybody out there
I still ain't been yet.
You haven't been to the mural yet?
I've seen pictures.
I saw pictures of it. I mean, it looks absolutely phenomenal. I mean,
It's huge.
it's. I was gonna say it's not like a small mural on a bridge. It is like the entire side of like a 4 or 5 story building. So, You know, that goes to speak to just maybe how big his impact was in that community. I even read, did they have a store where people could come in and get essentials and like talk politics and get books? I mean, I read something about that as well.
Nah, you had to ask my mom that.
That would be more of a question for Mom.
Yeah, because like they passed away when I was 8.
Okay.
So I only saw them
Sure.
in the house.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so like I don't really know all the ins and outs.
So you didn't really realize this till you got older in life and people kept talking about me. You're like, shit, my grandpa.
I was like 16.
Right on.
I started meeting people like everybody in my life that was like a father figure or was mentoring me, and they all have been mentored in some form or fashion by him.
Sure. And how much of that, I mean, you mentioned your mother and you said you could see where your mother gets some of that stuff from. How much of your grandparents, your grandfather's influence do you think you carry with you today? Like all of that stuff, that background, how much of that influences you today?
A lot. I think my mom always tell me I'm just like my grandpa all the time. And my mama, just like her mom. Or it's like, either I see the resemblance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I'll tell her, your mom probably did that. Like, Nana probably did that. And she'd think about it. She's like, oh my God, Nana did do that. So just had those type of moments. You know, I think it's just a lifestyle.
Sure.
You know, a lot of people I talk to, they say I come from good stock. You know?
Yeah. So you mentioned your mother a little bit, Kenya Smith. You have referred to her as your biggest cheerleader, which, you know, a lot of moms out there are. I've seen her at multiple football games. Just kind of talk about the impact that she had on your upbringing as well, because obviously your grandparents did a lot of great things. You can see some of those traits in your mom. Like, what has she meant to who you are today?
Probably one of the strongest people I know. You know, it's just been us, me and her,
Yeah.
you know, my whole life. And so, you know, we went through a lot. I think we always had what we needed and were able to learn what we needed, and if we didn't, we got what we needed. I think that she made sure that I was gonna be smart. And like, she read to me when I was in her stomach. She don't never stop talking about that. Like, she don't never stop talking. So like,
Reading books while you were in the stomach.
Yeah, reading to me, making sure I was, you know, gonna be intelligent, and just making sure she always gave me the best things. She when I was in Detroit, she put me in a school called Cornerstone, and that was a private school, all black school.
Okay.
And she made sure her and her dad, my grandpa, made sure that was paid for, and they set a really good foundation for me, you know, learning wise and cognitively. So I've just been kind of riding the wave ever since.
I want to move back into high school ball a little bit, just transition back to football. You play at East Kentwood, work yourself up to a 4-star recruit. What was that experience like? Were you getting just offers? Because I saw offers from Ohio State, Alabama. You obviously had an offer from Michigan. I mean, what was it like being a kid in that position with all these big-time offers coming in?
I didn't really care.
Didn't matter?
It was cool. Like,
Yeah.
I was like a nerd. I was like, oh my God.
By the way, were you still rocking the goggles, right?
Yeah,
Still had the goggles, yeah?
I was like, oh my God. Like, in high school, my two favorite players was Rashawn Gary
Okay.
and Deron Payne.
Yeah.
And like, once I got an offer, it took Michigan Alabama offered me before Michigan did.
Okay.
But Michigan had been recruiting me the whole time, Coach Mazi. And so.
Is that Greg Madison you're talking about? Yeah.
So like, I was just a big old nerd, like, oh my God. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, they playing in the national championship, like. Oh,
They want
like,
me?
Yeah, like me, like I'm fat. Like,
you
what
sure?
are you talking about? But then, you know, it does give you more confidence too. But like, I wasn't in a place where I was able to like understand that. You know, I think that I was in a good place for it because a lot of people get those offers and get a big head.
Yeah.
You know, and it's worried more about the offers than about the work. And I think, you know, I was able to stay grounded for the most part, contrary to popular belief. And I think more so people around me started treating me a little different.
Sure.
Because of that.
Yeah.
You know.
So what was it that made you ultimately settle on Michigan? I mean, you definitely had your options out there. You could go to big time programs. Michigan at that point in time certainly wasn't, you know, in the national championship hunt. What made you choose Ann Arbor as your home?
So I wanted to go to the SEC my whole life.
SEC, where it just means more than the SEC? That's what they say.
I don't know. Listen, I just know that they had some dogs up front, and I'm like, I'm one of them.
Warm weather helps, too.
Yeah. Well, I got asthma, so that wouldn't have been good. but I just knew they had dogs up front.
Yeah.
I mean, they had Quinn Williams, Deron Payne, and before that they had what's his name? Up front for Bama.
Now you're talking about for Alabama?
They had a guy who went to the Seahawks. They had a guy who went to the Giants, I think the Giants. I forget their names though. And then they had dude last name, Ashawn Robinson. Like they had all these big old D linemen.
Yeah.
And before that they had guys like Jarrell Casey. I was like, yeah.
NFL factory.
I want to go there.
Yeah.
But I was talking to my cousin about it, who played at Michigan State, and you know, he knew about the NFL and all of this, and he was like, whatever you see at another school, you could bring that where you at. So like, if they dogs up front at this other school, you could set that tone at the school you at. So don't look at it necessarily in that realm. Like, look at it like this is somewhere you gotta live. This is somewhere you gotta thrive. And this is somewhere that, you know, you can't go to college again.
Yeah.
So it gotta be for more. Like, I didn't come to play school and be real. You know what I'm saying? But school is important, you know what I'm saying? A little less important than football. Like, football was this, school was like,
Right.
it was still important.
Below. Yeah,
I mean, they still both high.
Sure.
But like, I had to go somewhere that had the best of both worlds, and that graduated their players. Cause, you know, I'm graduated.
Yeah.
So like, it's like,
congratulations, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
But it's like, well, like I'm good. I could never go to another school again and sit in another class and I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? And if I did want to come back, I'd be working on a master's.
Sure.
So that's what's cool, you know.
So good balance between what Michigan offered athletically, but also the academic side was a big part of it. Did proximity, being able to be close to mom, was that any part of it, or was it just, look, this is the program that gives me the best of both worlds?
I love my mom to death. But like, it was just me and her for like, at that point, 17 years. I was a little ready to get going, you know what I'm saying? But it helped a lot being close to home because, you know, she came to every game.
Yeah.
You know, and she was always there for me. And it was never hard.
Sure.
You know, I know people who have a hard time trying to fly their family out or, you know. But it was really because don't go to a school just because they putting guys in the NFL at your position because they got good players. Like, I had to realize that no matter where I went, I was gonna be okay. Like, that was kind of my mentality. Like, I could have went to, my first offer was Akron. You know, I was gonna work hard enough to get drafted out of there.
Okay.
Or if I went to CMU or Georgia, or Bama, Michigan, no matter where I went, Purdue, like anywhere, I was gonna make it.
Yeah.
You know, that was important for me.
So you get to Michigan, you arrive as a freshman in 2019. Do you remember what that first year at Michigan was like for you? I mean, you show up,
It was
obviously.
not easy.
You don't really know much about what's going on. You got a
Man.
lot of growth to make. Walk me through that first year at Ann Arbor.
I'm just telling you, I probably they repressed a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm serious. Like, I
Buried it away?
buried it deep.
What made it so difficult?
It's new. I couldn't breathe. I'm kind of like antisocial.
Sure.
I'm kind of introverted, so it's like all these new people don't touch me, don't talk to me. I don't know y'all. Like, I don't really like. I ain't like that. So,
Yeah.
you know. And then my friends. You know, I was roommates with Harbaugh,
Okay.
and like we got along for the most part, and that's my brother. But like outside of that, it was like, yeah, I'm good. Like my first day here, my coach left, and then Cade, who's he's a great dude. You know what I'm saying? First off, we get that out the way. But like, he's different, right?
Okay, good dude, but a little different.
Yeah, in a way that my coach just left, and then I just got off the phone, like me and Jabba crying, like he just recruited us, telling us he gonna get us to the league, and he went to Ohio State. So it's like, okay.
That's even the worst part, right? Did it hurt more that it was Ohio State? Would it have made a difference?
After a while, I realized that it wasn't personal, but we was like, oh my God, and then Cade walked up to me, and I don't like people touching me. He grabbed me and was like, "Hey, how you doing?" and like shook me, and I was like, "Hey." I didn't respond well to that in the moment, you know. It actually took us a minute to get close, you know. So after that, but
had to find another way to come together.
Yeah, but it was good. I mean, the workouts different, everything different, you know. Every freshman gets told they're gonna play. Sometimes it don't happen.
Yeah.
And
Did you play at all your freshman year?
No.
No. Okay.
I played like 4 snaps.
Yeah. Is that a difficult transition going from being like one of the guys in high school to like you go and you barely see the field, or is that just kind of what comes with the territory?
I mean, it's kind of what comes with the territory, and like you practicing harder than you ever practiced before.
Sure.
So I mean, if you're honest with yourself, you gotta be like, hey, am I ready or not?
Yeah.
And like I had determined, like, I ain't as ready as I would like to be. And I played 1 snap against Alabama in that bowl game.
Yeah.
They sent me in for 1 snap.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, that wasn't good. So I was like, I gotta figure this out.
Gotta get back in the weight room.
I gotta figure this one out.
Yeah.
So that's on me.
All right, man. So we've obviously been talking a lot about Michigan football, your experience there, some of the things that have happened, but throughout the course of those 4 years, I'm guessing that there's, a person or people that stand out. Like these people really made an impact on me. For you in your career, like who's made the biggest impact on you during your 4 years at Michigan? Is it one person? Is it a set of people? Who's really had that impact on helping you get to where you are now?
It depends on what you talk about. Who had the biggest impact on me in my personal life is one of our sports therapists.
Okay.
She helped me start to see the game in a different way. She helped me start trying to figure out how to handle things and, help me become more mature, She's like family now. And then my nutritionist helped me change my body and, she affected me in that way the most, made the biggest impact on my body, which, helped me play the game better. I think Coach Herb and the strength and staff, that really helped me a lot. It's kind of like a catch-all, what I'm about to say, but like,
Sure.
I mean, all these guys and these ladies too, they're affecting me in different ways. Like, the guy that helped me the most on the field was a guy named Ryan Osborne. He couldn't really coach for real, because he's an analyst.
Sure.
But we used to analyze a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
So like, he couldn't really coach me on the field or nothing. But like, we just go and talk football and talk about D-line and how it's supposed to be played and talk about defenses. Same, I used to talk to Coach Mack all the time the same way, like defenses, coverages. I don't know coverages that well still, but fronts, why do you blitz? Why don't you blitz? What, you know, kind of just get a better understanding of the game. They helped me a bunch.
So really a collection of people from personal to physical to athletically. Team.
One thing that I do well is like, if somebody got something I need that can help me, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
You know, not like in a negative way or nothing, but like if there's an available resource to me, because everybody didn't talk to Coach Oz. You know, everybody didn't go up and sit with Coach Mack. You know, and I didn't have some similar conversations with Coach Minner. You know, like people don't use the resources available to them all the time.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people just don't want to.
Sure.
You know, it's interesting because I had to tell people sometimes, like, everybody in that building is trying to get you to become the best football player that you can be. And I don't know why you would think they're not. Because why
do you think people are resistant to using those resources? Is it an ego thing?
It's like people just are confused. And I think people, you know, I think when you look at the media and how, and like a lot of coaches, you know, at the lower levels, or earlier levels, like it's a lot. People coach for different reasons.
Yeah.
Some people coach because it makes them feel good, or because they like to be in control, like to have power. Some people coach because they like helping young people make something out of themselves. They like football saved my life. Some people coach because they're good at it, because they're smart. Some people coach just to feed their kids.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell why somebody's coaching, but like at the end of the day, they're getting paid like $400,000+ to make you the best player that you can be. So if that's a 15, 20-hour conversation that y'all gotta have, then, I mean, if they're not willing to have it, then they doing the team a disservice, they doing you as a player a disservice, and I just think that's the truth. But you gotta ask. Nobody's gonna go out of. They already work a lot of hours as the coaching staff. They're not. You gotta ask. You gotta ask, and you gotta apply it. It can't. You know, a lot like some guys want that type of attention, but they waste it. You know, sometimes people don't apply it. They just. It's all about being coachable.
Sure.
You know, I think it's a lot of reasons why people feel that way. You know, but.
Being willing to seek out resources you think you need.
But the truth is, those people work for the school just like you do. And their job is to make you the best you can be. That's just truth.
Sure.
And if they're not doing that, they're not doing their job.
Yeah. And adding two more people to that mix, you had mentioned a few names there. Jesse Minner, Mike Elston, had the opportunity to work with those two coaches this year. Just elaborate on it, because there were a lot of people that questioned whether or not, you know, you get Mike McDonald for a year, the defense obviously has tremendous success, and then you lose him after a year, and people are like, oh shit, how do you replace that after a year? And then Jesse Minner comes in, and the defense almost looks as dominant, if not more dominant, for most of the season. What was your experience like in working with those two guys, in Minner and Elston?
It was real good, man. You know, I think everybody got different philosophies on what should be done and shouldn't be done. I think that the DC bumps heads a lot with everybody, you know, at first. And, you know, I think sometimes it takes a while for a new position coach to get in or get a feel for the group and just understand how the group works and what the group is good at, what the group isn't. But I think eventually we found all that out, and that's why we were able to be so successful this season. It was good, man. I think everybody learned a lot about themselves, about the people around them. I think everybody learned so much.
Yeah.
You know, I think even in that loss to TCU, I think everybody just learned so much. You know?
Hopefully things that'll carry over into into the 2023 season. There's
You
another
would
coach.
hope.
There's hope out there.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
another coach I want to talk to you about. Big name. A lot of people know him, Mr. Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, yeah.
And so you obviously had the pleasure of playing for him for 4 years during your Michigan career. His name has been in the news considerably over the last 2 weeks in terms of whether or not he's going to remain at Michigan, whether or not maybe the NFL might be a real thing. And I'm curious from a player standpoint, because you guys kind of went through this last year during the last offseason where it looked like maybe Minnesota was a very realistic possibility. What is it like when you're a player and you're kind of on the outside looking in and there's a potential that you may lose your head coach? Because you mentioned all these people have an impact on you in one way or another. From the outside looking in, it seems like a big deal. What's it like in the locker room? What's it like being a part of the team?
Don't nobody talk about it.
Really? Okay, so it's not really a topic of conversation.
We kind of trained to be like, once something becomes reality, then we can react. But until then, like, what you gonna do?
Okay.
You know, like, I think that's how we won that Illinois game.
Sure.
Because, I mean, in the second half, they started running the ball real well on the defense, started moving the rock. And, you know, if you're worried about losing the game, you ain't gonna be able to win it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what we got away from in the playoff, you know? I think, like, people started looking at the outcome and the bigger picture opposed to just looking at TCU and saying, okay, we got to beat them, and either we can or we can't. I think that with Coach Harbaugh, you know, things being uncertain, I mean, my coach left before I seen him. I never saw Coach Mazi on campus.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and, like, he was, like, that was my dog. You know
Recruited you, right?
Yeah,
You had the
recruited me
relationship with him,
recruited me for like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Recruited me hard for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And so I learned early, like, oh, this ain't about personal relationships or friendships.
Sure.
This is about business. And this is about winning. And just like I want to move on at some point and go to the NFL for my career, I mean, the coaches are in the same boat. And, you know, I think what helped me a lot was what I told you earlier, like, no matter what circumstance I'm in, I'm going to make it. Like, I'm going to make sure that I make something happen.
Yeah.
Like, I don't never, my biggest fear is to be one of them guys on the field getting put on their ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like that shit. And it happens sometimes, like, but that ain't something I want to go through. So whatever I can do to keep me from doing that, I'm going to do. And getting put on your ass who your head coach is don't got nothing to do with you getting put on your ass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you kind of got to keep the main thing at the end of the day.
Yeah. I am curious, though, because of this resurgence over the last 2 years. And I think even in your press conference when you were out in Arizona, you talked about kind of your relationship with Jim Harbaugh and how, you know, you're able to be upfront and honest with him. What type of impact has he had on on this program during your 4 years there? Who is Jim Harbaugh to you?
He just has always been himself. I think I can only really speak to my personal experience with him because I was never really afraid to go in his office and tell him things that maybe a head coach didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
From a player. Like, I remember when Coach Mazi left, you know, he knew I was sad and stuff and hurt, and he looked at me and was like, it's gonna be all right. And I was like, Coach, like, I might transfer.
So it was that, I mean, it was that impactful on you, right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and he looked at me like, did this freshman just tell me he's gonna transfer? But he kind of smoothed over it, and we got over it, and everything was good. But I was just honest with him in that moment. Like, I don't really always have a great filter.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I was just honest with him in that moment. And he
Blessing and a curse sometimes, yeah.
And he took it for what it was. But I think, after I stayed, one time I started crying in camp. Yeah, it was getting real. It was getting serious.
Yeah.
And like I walked up to the coach and he was like, "What was wrong, man?" It's like, man, it was like day 15 or something. And I'm like sitting there like I ain't getting no sleep. I'm getting my eyes beat by Big Mike and C's and stuff. And I'm like, man. And so I couldn't figure out the double team.
Yeah.
So on every double team, I was getting blown back like 15 yards, and it just was ugly. But he told me to go up and talk to him after practice. So we met, and I told him about everything and how I was feeling, and he was like, "You just gotta keep going, then you're gonna be all right." You know what I'm saying? And he kind of told me some personal stuff, and we kind of connected on that level. And like, ever since then, I had a better understanding, like, oh, you just gotta go up there and talk to him.
Sure.
A lot of people look at Coach like he the president. Coach really one of the most down-to-earth people in the building. I think Coach don't always know exactly how to handle certain situations, but I think he always does his best. And that's what matters.
Sure.
And people don't give him enough credit for that. You know what I'm saying? He always himself and always is trying to do his best and do right by people. You just gotta do right by him.
So we'll switch gears a little bit from coach. I know you play defense, but I do want to ask about this offensive player because he got a lot of notoriety this year. It was his first year as a starter, took over the starting role in week 2. J.J. McCarthy, young quarterback, sophomore. He's got the perfect hair even when he takes the helmet off. He's like golden boy out there.
He's like Aiden. He's like a small miniature Aiden.
I'm curious. You were around this kid. You got to see him develop a little bit. What is it about him that you think makes him a good fit for Michigan and such a special quarterback? Like, what were some of the qualities you got to see up close and personal?
I don't really look at the quarterback too much.
Unless you're sacking them, right?
I'm trying to hit them. Even in practice. I'm not trying to hit JJ, but like, I'm trying to get close.
Sure.
Dangerously close.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, is there a locker room presence? Is there anything? I mean, or is there just not much of a connection?
JJ is just one of the guys.
Yeah.
Like, he's just one of the young guys, be being the old head. Like, he just like Dono. They just like Mason. Like, they all the same. Like, they just happen to be real good at football. Like, now, do they have things that set them apart? Yeah, but those things have to set you apart if you're going to play this game. Like, they just take it serious, and they want to be good. They got to drive. I mean, K had the same thing. They got to drive. I think JJ has a lot of talent. He's figuring out what to do with it. I think that he knows he's starting to really know what to do with it. But he can threaten people in a lot of different ways, and he just go out there and just play. And he just kind of a relaxed guy. I'm sure he's been nervous before, but I ain't never really seen him nervous. But like, he's just a guy that you're happy to have on your team. You're happy to see him doing the things that he does. Like, hard worker, he check all the boxes. Hard worker, smart guy, locked in.
Yeah.
He just check all the boxes. Tough guy. I seen him get hit. I forget which game it was, but I was like, God, he might have just left the building for a second.
Broken half.
Came back. He might have just had to come back.
Yeah.
He might have just had to reboot.
Yeah.
And he shook it right off. And I asked him about it later, and he was like, yeah, bro, I'm just telling you, I left for a second. But I came back, though. Came back.
Came back, started throwing dimes.
Yeah, throwing dimes. I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
You mentioned, I think you mentioned Mason Graham there too when you were referencing off some of these kids, some of these other younger guys. Now that you're on your way out, headed to the NFL, there's a lot of people looking at what this roster, the defensive roster in particular, might look like moving forward. Who are some of those guys that maybe aren't household names yet, but by the end of 2023 might make the same type of step forward that you made from your junior year to your senior year? Who are some of those guys that you think are going to be big impact players next year?
Everybody on the front, particularly.
Yeah.
On the back end, I think people, I mean, the freshmen we got, y'all already know. Like Will, Mason, Kenneth. Yeah, people don't know KG. We call him KG. People don't know Kenneth Grant as much, but he is big. You see him on the sideline.
I see you doing a lot of work out there with him pregame. Yeah. Pregame, you guys are going through reps together in the end zone, hitting the field goal posts.
Yeah. But I think, in particular, a couple guys is gonna make big strides. I think Jalen Harrell is gonna make a big step in the right direction. I think Braden McGregor. I think Chris Jenkins is going to take another step. I think Chris Jenkins probably be better than me, for real. I think Mason taking a big step. I think Benny, Rayshawn Benny, all the guys under we call it the flock. My flock. Everybody in my love who been under my tutelage.
You know, I noticed that about you. When we were at the Big Ten Champions Camp over the summer. It was out in LaGrange, Illinois. You were very hands-on with the kids. You were teaching, you were teaching. And then throughout the season, as I'm down there taking photographs, I watch you come out and you're teaching. I mean, was that a conscious effort on your part that, like, I'm gonna start to teach this game? I'm at a point right now where I can do that, or was it just something that evolved and came natural?
Well, it's like I said, I don't want to be the guy getting put on my ass. Yeah. So, like, if I'm claiming you and you getting fucked up, we got a problem. So we're going to have to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of those guys respected that. And I think a lot of those guys saw the way I played. I think for some of the new guys early on, they didn't really know me. And I kind of I had a good season last year, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like, I mean, I had a better season this year. But once they started seeing me play and practice, they was like, oh, okay. Like he's pretty good. Yeah. And they was like, okay, I want to be able to do some of the stuff he can do. And I think some of the younger guys got different tools than I got, who can be better than me. And I told them that. Like I told some of the young guys, like, hey bro, like, not the freshmen. They don't need to hear that shit yet. But like some of the older guys, I was telling them, like, hey bro, like, you can be better than me. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty good. You can be better than him. Oh, this guy's pretty good down there. You resemble him. You can play like that. You got to look for somebody to model your game after, and not to copy, but to just, you got to see how it's been done to understand what can be done, and then you got to try and figure out what you can do. Yeah. So like telling guys to study, telling guys like Chris Jenks, like, I was on his ass. Because he like having fun. In a good way, another good way.
The Mutant, right? Was that the nickname he's got?
Yeah, he is the Mutant. Yeah.
I saw him when
we were out. He do some shit, I don't know how the fuck he do that shit. I be like, what
we were on the West Side tour. We were out doing one of those things when you guys were out touring, and there was a little indoor carnival that we were all at where Harbaugh was in the dunk tank. I don't know if you remember that. There was a bounce house or whatever. Yeah. Chris Jenkins is out here. You guys are doing jump rope. You got one guy, they're doing the jump rope, and he comes in and gets in the jump rope lane, and he's like hopping in the jump rope with a thing of popcorn in his hand while he's eating. Like, it was nothing. It was just incredible to watch. Physically, he seems like he's extremely gifted.
Yeah, he's different. I mean, his dad, his dad.
Yeah.
That was a
good lineage, yeah.
Dad, the demon. I looked up his dad. I was like, whoa. It's like, whoa. Yeah. So, I think he gonna be good though.
He's one of those guys that can definitely help fill that void.
Well, I mean, he had like 50 tackles this year.
Yeah.
He was already filling that void.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We're going to need it even more, though. We're going to need even more without you.
He could be a D tackle that got like 60, 70 tackles. And he could get sacks too. Yeah. Put his mind to it. I mean, you got to think, Chris Jenkins he ain't really ever played 2-eye or 3 technique. He kind of played 4-eye. I don't know what he played in high school, but in college, he kind of always played that 4-eye 5 tech. And so it's a brand new position for him.
Still learning it, yeah.
And he got 50 tackles.
Still finding a way to
his
be
first
effective.
year.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay.
All right, going to switch gears a little bit here as we're getting towards the end, but I do want to talk about something that I think is important for student athletes in general, whether you play football, basketball, whatever, and that's mental health with student athletes. I'm wondering, in today's day and age with the high expectations and the visibility and social media, how is mental health affected or impacted as a student athlete? Like, is it something that you've noticed or had to deal with or had to battle with, or other people on the team you've noticed? I mean, is it a bigger deal nowadays than maybe it would have been 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, I think social media, I be getting crazy comments. Like I done got a few nuts comments, and I was like, God dang,
After a good game or a bad game, or doesn't it matter?
After the season, and then after that stuff came up,
Okay, sure, yeah.
and people was calling me all type of. I was like, whoa. But you just gotta compartmentalize. Like, it didn't really have that big an impact on me, per se, but I could see how somebody else in the same situation would be in some trouble.
Sure.
I think that the good, bad game stuff, if you had a good or bad game.
Yeah.
If you dropped a pass and you got somebody in the comments talk about, hey, you dropped this pass, you suck. You better catch that pass next time. You know what I'm saying? Or if I missed the sack versus TCU, and I was like, nah. And on tape, you could see it. I looked at the ground like.
Was this where you came across and you tried to switch directions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was a screen.
Yeah.
And you could see the receiver running, but he didn't run the screen. He didn't throw the screen.
Yeah.
But we thought you come free. Ain't nothing free. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing free. So you gonna give me a free sack? Are you crazy? So in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, this ain't right. But it is what it is. But when I missed that, people was telling me, hey bro, you suck. You missed a free sack, free and clear sack. You could have killed them. I was like, yeah, they got a point.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to understand what's true and what's not. I saw something that said, I'll be a better draft prospect or a really high draft prospect. And I know nobody really knows, but this is just my personal point of view too. I'm good at the run. That's kind of my strong suit. If I could have generated some more pass rush this year, I'd be in a way different position, I think. You're talking
about from a draft stock perspective?
Yeah, from a stock and a worth, because how that whole thing works is we ain't spending first day capital on nothing that ain't worth it.
Yeah.
All type of stuff. People didn't think I was gonna be a good football player. I got asthma. People didn't think, people thought I was overrated. People thought that, the first 2 years I didn't play much. People never thought I was gonna play. In high school, people thought I was lazy. Not everybody, but everybody got a point of view.
Sure. Everybody
got a point of view. Everybody got something to say about stuff that don't got nothing to do with them. So it's just gotta let them talk sometimes.
Another big part now of college athletics is NIL. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Again, I mentioned you and I up in the air. I don't know if we were 10,000 feet, 20,000 feet in a Chinook. I'm tethered to this damn thing, lift gate open, terrified of it. You're sitting maybe 5 feet from me. That's all part of an NIL deal. And I think in a lot of ways, NIL has contributed a lot of cool things to college athletics. But in some ways, there's been some things that have happened where it's wow, that's really weird that a kid out of high school would be getting millions of dollars worth of NIL offers to be able to go to a certain school. I'm curious from your perspective as somebody who to some extent has benefited from NIL, What is your overall take on NIL and its impact on college football? Do you view it as more of a net positive, or does it seriously need some changes from what it currently is?
I mean, man, I ain't counting nobody's pockets. Like, I like to know what other people make because it's cool to figure out what the skill players be making and stuff. But like,
is that general? Is that how it generally goes? Skill players are just getting paid more. Than skill players?
Yeah. But that's, I mean, free. Like, look, it's free money. You still gotta pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's like money that you would have never had. Like I told you earlier, like I spent like $19,000 on shopping, and I was like, what? I saw that in my bank statement. I was like, that's money I wouldn't have had if it wasn't for NIL.
Sure.
You know, I didn't have to worry about paying my rent at all. You know, and rent's already paid for, but you know, I stayed alone, so my rent was higher than normal.
Right.
You know, just somebody with roommates, so like I didn't have to worry about eating. I didn't have to worry about paying my rent, paying my car note, putting gas in my car. Before NIL came out, I was
What's going on over here?
hey, boys.
Who is that? We got somebody's phone blowing up.
No, I think that might be like Grubhub or something. People ordering stuff.
Oh, people putting it in order?
Yeah.
For those orders? It's busy over here at Wolverine State Brewing Company.
What else, man?
Overall with NIL, though, just in terms
yeah.
of the impact that it's having on college athletics and whether or not you think it's a...
Yeah, I mean, dude, free, hey, bro, money is money. Put some in my pocket, please. I don't care if it's 500, 700, 20,000, I don't care.
Well, you're on the verge of getting a lot of money in your
I was going to
pocket.
tell you, before NIL came,
Yeah.
I was door dashing
No kidding.
with my Ford Taurus.
Wow.
I was driving DoorDash.
Around Ann Arbor?
Around Ann Arbor, I done went out to Dexter, Michigan. I done went everywhere.
Were people shocked when they saw you show up with the DoorDash order? They're like, holy shit, this is Mazi.
Nah, nobody knew me. But I was shocked when it took me to Dexter, Michigan, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm supposed to be over here. I don't know this place, you know. I don't know.
Safe over here?
I don't know how they get down over here, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like it just took me everywhere when I was DoorDashing, and it was all right money. But one week, I had DoorDash for like 40 hours in a week. And I was like, damn, if this would feel like to have a 9 to 5, I need to stick to football.
Yeah.
For real. I need to go to the weight room.
Yeah.
For real, because, you know. But NIL overall been a good thing. I think people need to kind of stop giving high school kids all that money.
Yeah. Do you think it's something that should be more earned when you're on campus and a part, you know, have essentially proven your worth? Or, I mean, is it, I mean, free market?
Money the root of all evil. And, you know, you get these parents getting involved like, ooh, $350,000, $100,000. It's like, hey, bro, your son work for 2 years and play for 2, or play for 1, or play for his first 3 years. He gonna make that plus some. And it's like the minimum salary in the league is $600 right now. I think it's going up to $700.
Yeah.
If I'm correct on the numbers, but like, so the $350K, that's a lot to a lot of people. But I mean, shit, that's a good amount of money to get as a high school kid. But like, shit, it's cars that's $350,000.
Yeah. It's not really comparable to what you're gonna get.
You can spend all that shit at once.
Yeah.
Like you could, like, somebody get $350,000 and it's like, oh my God, like I could live for the rest of my life on this. You know what I'm saying?
Especially when you're a high school
Yeah,
kid,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
But it's like, hey, bro, that's like, let's see, what is that? That's like you can buy like 150 Montclair coats.
Right.
It's like you still can't afford it.
It's a decent house, an
Yeah.
okay house, nice car, you know.
It's
what I
like,
mean?
bro, you spend enough on designer, like it's shoes that's $2,000 out there.
Yeah.
So what you gonna do? Buy 350 pairs of that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like people just gotta. I ain't come to college to play school, but I came to college to become a well-rounded individual.
Sure.
I came to college to kind of, to grow as a player and as a man. Maybe not so much so as a student. I was already a pretty good student though.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
I got all academic and then, graduated on time.
Well, when you wear glasses like that, you got to be smart, right? That's part of the deal when you wear them.
You got to be big. Cause ain't nobody. Cause who gonna tell you? Who gonna tell you to take them glasses off? What? You know what I'm saying? When I was wearing them glasses, ain't nobody say nothing to me. But when I took them off, they was like, "Oh, you wearing them stupid glasses?" Nah, nah, nah. It's like, yeah, you wasn't saying that to me when I had them on, though.
All right, man. We're at the home stretch of the interview here. I just got a few more questions for you, a little bit lighter. I want to know, we talked a little bit about it earlier in the interview, writing music, poetry, screenwriting, some of the things that you're interested in. We talked about some of that stuff off camera, but what are your hobbies outside of football? Like when you're not practicing, when you're not getting ready for the league, when you're not in the weight room, like what are you doing with your free time? What are some of Mazi Smith's hobbies?
I like writing, all type of stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly music, though.
Okay.
Like raps.
So is there a notebook full of?
It's all on my phone.
Okay, so you're writing it on your phone. See, old school, my age, we used to put that in notebook. Believe it or not, I'm not proud to admit this, I also used to write.
Oh, yeah.
When 8 Mile came out, listen, I was very influenced by movies, by the way. So when 8 Mile came out, I was convinced I was going to be a rapper. But then Fast and the Furious came out, and I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to be a race car driver now.
Wow.
And then at one point in time, I was going to try to combine the two into the same and be a rapper, race car driver, which obviously
very, very influential.
Which obviously didn't turn out. But so you're writing out music, you're doing things like that in your free time. What else?
I like Legos.
That's right. You mentioned the Legos
and Mega Blocks.
Okay.
If anybody from over there see that, I would love to do some work.
Can we get a Lego sponsorship here? Mega Block
sponsorship, a deal, anything, I like cars.
Yeah.
A lot. I like I'm gonna get a good car. I got it in mind.
Is that what's on the list? What is it? What's the one on the mind when you get that first deal from the NFL? What's that car, that dream car? Because everybody's got one.
This is a Grand Cherokee.
Grand Cherokee?
The special kind.
What is it? Is that the wagon, right? Is it the Grand Wagoneer? No, it must be one that I'm not aware of.
It's called a Trackhawk.
Oh, the Trackhawk. Okay, the one where you can tear ass down the. Okay, yeah. I see where you're going with it.
Put all type of shit in there.
Yeah.
So once I get that, I'll be fulfilled in life.
And you fit in it, obviously.
I don't care. We're gonna make it
I
work.
will make myself fit.
Yeah, we're gonna make it work. But yeah, that's a dream car. But I mean.
Just different things outside of football. I mean, that's cool to see that side of you as well. I think that's really interesting. And then the other thing that I always think is interesting, and every time we've had a guest on our podcast, I've always asked, like one question is, what do you think is more likely? What do you think is more likely to be true? That Bigfoot exists or that aliens exist? If you had to put stock in one or the other.
So aliens do exist.
Oh, so you're certain on this? Because I interviewed Mike Morris. Mike Morris, by the way, if you're out there watching, Mike Morris is convinced that reptilians are a real deal. Now I don't know if you
reptilian people.
Reptilian people that live amongst human beings, but they're reptiles. It's a disguise, the human disguise.
I think there's people out there that's possessed.
Okay.
I think it's some crazy people out there that get crazy and do a whole bunch of demonic shit, but. I don't know about the whole, what they do going in the crib and take off their damn skin and it's green.
I think it's like an X-Men character or something. You just change when you get behind closed doors. Your skin becomes different.
I mean, there's craziest stuff out there though.
But you think aliens, so it's for sure. There's no.
Well, I learned this word and I forget it. It's it starts with anthro or something. It's about the human idea that we're the only species in the universe.
Yeah.
We can't even readily go to space.
Yeah.
Seems
pretty arrogant to think
people,
that we're the only ones,
it's
right?
Bro, who you think you are, gang? Who do you think you are, bro?
So you think they're out there?
They
Or maybe
gotta
they're
be.
even Some of them are hovering.
Nah, I don't know. I think that they probably look at what goes on here, and they probably are definitely afraid to set foot here.
We are not going there.
Yeah, because it's like they gonna try and shoot us. They gonna try and put us in jail and do all these tests.
Yeah.
Like the human race, I don't feel is as advanced enough to handle the concept of alien contact.
Yeah, it does seem like technology is advancing way quicker than humans, I think, are mentally prepared for. You know
I think
what mean?
we're regressing.
Do you think we're going? So you think that's part of technology is making humans?
I mean, imagine somebody who go on social media and see one bad thing,
Yeah.
and now they, I don't want to be here anymore. They hate me.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like that's a very childish point of view.
Sure.
These people, like when that stuff happened, keep referring it, the October incident.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like a lot of people had something to say about it, but at the end of the day, the only people's opinions and thought processes that do matter are my mom's, my coaches, you know, people at the higher level, and my agent.
Yeah.
Outside of that, the news could say whatever they want. Articles can be whatever they are, true or false. A lot of the stuff wasn't accurate.
Yeah.
And it ended up getting cleared up. But like, and really the only other person whose opinion mattered was the judge.
Yeah.
And outside of that, who has any bearing on how I live my life? Or know who I am, what I go through, how I think, like, nobody.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's only a few people that, and the funny thing is, them people who actually opinions mattered, they wasn't saying nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Because it ain't even the time yet to figure it out. But it's like, it's so childish how people get on the internet and think that their life can be over. You know, I've seen people, you know, YouTubers and stuff, you know, their life is over. Oh, all of this complaining and stuff. It's like, bro, you was a person before YouTube, you're gonna be a person, you know, after, like, you a person first.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing else that's more important. And I think that is really having a negative effect on society as a whole.
Sure, which is maybe playing into the reason you talked about this a little bit off camera, but you're about to shut it down. Social media,
Oh, yeah.
you are about to shut that down. You're going into the bunker. You're getting ready for the next phase of your life. That's not really going to become or be continued a part of what Mazi Smith does moving forward.
It's a big waste of time. It's funny. I laugh a lot on there, but like, it's like, man, I mean, imagine if somebody spent the amount of time they spent on social media, they spent that time working on.
Yeah.
Or they spent that time studying or actually doing something that was gonna help them, trying to make some money and working or anything. I mean, if any, at the least you'd be getting more sleep. Most people get on the phone and they keep them up. I mean, I done been kept up. Like, get on the phone, it's 9 o'clock, you on the phone, looking at Instagram, TikTok and shit. It's 12, 12:30. It's like, damn.
Hours go by.
Yeah. It's like, bro, you don't want to be involved in that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we only get so much time on Earth. You gonna spend, what, 25% of your life looking at TikTok?
That's crazy.
Nuts.
Now we talked, are there any other conspiracy theories? We talked about it a little bit that aren't, you know, conspiracy theories that may have been proven true, but are there any, like, the moon landing, anything else that you subscribe to, some of those crazy ideas that you think, you know what, there might be some truth to that?
There probably is. I mean, the ones that I wrote a paper on the crack epidemics in the 90s.
Yeah.
When I was in like 6th grade. I wrote a paper on that. People thought that was like a myth. And it wasn't.
Yep.
Then you got like the Tuskegee Air Institute experiments. People thought that was a myth. It wasn't. But that's heavy. That's
Yeah.
like some heavy shit. But like some of the more, I guess, lighter ones is like ghosts and shit.
Yeah.
I think if you asking to see a demon, you don't see
So,
it.
you believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
You believe in the afterlife, all that sort of thing?
Paranormal and
Yeah.
all that shit. I mean, if you asking for it, it's coming.
Here's the weird thing is like I don't believe in ghosts, but I'll be honest. When I'm downstairs in the basement and I turn the lights off to come upstairs, like I'm running up the stairs fast still. Like even though I say I don't believe in it, I think there's a part of me that's like there could be some shit down here.
Yeah, I feel that. I don't like the dark. I got a lock on my door in my house. I got locks all over my house. But it's like do people think there's we know everything there is to know
Yeah.
about the way the world works? No.
Doesn't seem like it.
But we only live to like what's the life, the rate of life like?
I don't know, 75, maybe
Yeah,
80
it's
if
like-
you're lucky. It's not a lot.
And people think that your body really was made to live to 130 or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, bro, we don't know a lot. I mean, we don't even know what's in the ocean for real.
It's true. Yeah. Less. What is it they say? Less about the ocean than we do about the surface of the moon.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot we don't know.
So we need to worry about what's at home first.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know. It's like you got problems at home. You need to figure out.
Take care of home
Yeah,
first,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Before you tried to build that base on Mars,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. No doubt. All right, man. Last question here before we get you out. We talked about a lot. It's going to be your last interview in Ann Arbor before you get on that plane and you head out to Arizona and you get ready for the NFL. Going back, looking back, that feeling you talked about earlier in the interview, how you felt as a freshman when you arrived on campus, and here you sit, a Michigan graduate, you're getting ready for the NFL, big change in your life. If the Mazi Smith sitting here today could give some advice to the Mazi Smith stepping on campus back in 2019, what would that advice be? What advice would you give to yourself, a young Mazi?
Just work harder. Because however good I am right now, I still think I'm alright, you know what I'm saying? But like, people think I'm good now, I guess. I could always have been better, you know? But I mean, you never want to burn yourself out. But like, I'm sure there's times back in the day I could have dug a little deeper. I was digging pretty deep though. Like I wouldn't be able to do some conditioning stuff and the whole team would do it, finish it, and I'd get through half of it. And then I'd leave and come back and do the rest. Like, I was that type of guy.
Yeah.
But still, it's always more to do. Always, like, ain't never finished. You know, and I think that's one of the blessings and curses of wanting to be a real good football player or athlete or good at anything. Like, no matter what heights you reach, it's rarely gonna be enough. You know, you gotta stay in that mind state of like, you know, even if you win a national championship or a division championship, even if you're the best player on the team, like, can you do that same thing again? Can you do that for 3 years in a row? Can you do it for 8? You know what I'm saying? Like, you always striving for more. I mean, that's why Tom Brady's still playing football. That's why Nick Saban's still coaching. You know, those are two people who done did everything under the sun. Aaron Donald, still playing ball. Then did everything under the sun and still find it in themselves to get up and attack it like it's brand new. And I mean, Kobe, before he passed away, like, even the day after he retired, he still got up in the morning or did his workout. Like, he was retiring just because it was time to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just because he wanted to.
Not because he couldn't keep dominating on the
Yeah.
court. No, he could have done that.
Yeah.
Same with what Tom Brady's doing
He was
right
passing the torch.
now. Yeah, yeah.
Like any, leader would do.
Yeah. So keep grinding. That's your message to yourself as a freshman. When you get there, you don't know much. Head
However
down,
hard you
keep
think you're
working.
working, figure out how to go a little harder. And it don't always got to be work on the field or in the weight room, like in the training room
Yeah.
or film study.
Seeking out resources, other people in the building that can help you get better, all that stuff. Yeah. Mazi Smith, episode 1 of Table Talk with the Winged Helmet. I could not be more grateful that you were the first guest. We talked about this when I met you a couple weeks back. And no matter what it is you do, man, whether you go on and have a killer career in the NFL, whether you go on to be a screenwriter, you're writing music, whatever it is, I'm a fan for life, gonna follow it. And again, I'm grateful and appreciative you decided to do this.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. That meant a lot.
Appreciate it.
Cut. Chop.